Hello, friends. Let's discuss this week's set of questions on current affairs. Here's the first one. As per the Economic Survey 21-22, which of the following statements are true? This is about the forest cover in India. Okay, so we'll focus on the forest cover only. Of course, as you know, when I say only, there are a lot of things in the Economic Survey, but this one is about the forest cover. Globally, India ranked third in an average annual net gain, in forest area between 2010 and 2030. So in this decade, we have had net gain. We gained forest cover instead of losing it. A lot of countries have lost it. India's forest, the forest in India covered 24% of the geographical spread in the country. You please understand that this was 21%. It's gone up by 3.14% in the last 10 years. So India accounted for 2% of the world's total forest area in 2020, and of course, within this, India has about, Madhya Pradesh has about 11% of India's total forest area. Okay, forest cover. Now, this question looks very simple on the face of it, but the answers listed there. But I want you to have a look at the graphics, in the next two slides. See, I have this taken from the Economic Survey. In the session on the budget, I have told you that, I went through the budget, entire Economic Survey, line by line, so I found them instantly. The top 10 countries in the world with forest area would be, you look at Russia. This is absolute forest area. I'm not in terms of percentages, absolute. Now, this hectares, okay, this is hectares, and that's a lot of land. That's you could say that when you say 815,000 hectares, that is 8,15,000 hectares of Russian territory is occupied by forests. And you need to understand that forest cover varies between countries because of the climate conditions, okay, because of the local needs as well, and population is a major factor, as to bring in something more, you look at Russia. Russia's north, especially the Arctic, the taiga, tundra forest north, it's pretty cold, so they have the tundra there, which is home to a certain varieties of trees, certain variety of vegetation that is local to that area. Now, coming down to the south, basically, you have the Appalachian Mountains, you have the Urals, you have the, a lot of the mountain is forested area in the Caucasus. So, and Russia is sparsely populated. Russia's area is pretty large, it's 5 times bigger than India. And just to give you an idea how big is Russia, it is, sorry guys, I think there is a bit of a struggle here in terms of, okay, while I erase this, you need to understand that Russia's 1.7 crore square kilometers. Don't you think that's a lot of it? Yeah, a lot of area. Ours is 32 lakhs. So 32 lakhs, 170 lakhs, you can understand, they're 5 times. And their population is 14.5 crore. Okay, quite sparsely populated. So if you look at the north of the country, it's quite forested. South is forested. Okay, so south, especially south, the central part is quite forested. Now you look at Brazil. Brazil's home to the Amazonian forest, which is like pretty large, and by area itself, Brazil is 85 lakh square kilometers. That's no small measure. No small area. It's 2.5 times bigger than India's. Yeah, more than 2.5 times. So Canada, if you look at Canada, Brazil's population is what? It's generally localized along the coast, and its population is the 6th highest in the world, about 21 crores. Recently, Pakistan overtook it. So that's Pakistan's 5th, and this is 6th. Canada, very sparse population, but area-wise, 2nd biggest in the world. After Russia, it's the biggest country. Remember, I said after Russia, it's the biggest. You don't say after Russia, it's the 2nd biggest. If you say after Russia is 2nd biggest, it becomes number third. Okay, number 3. So after Russia, so Russia is already the largest. Canada is the 2nd largest. So 99 lakh square kilometers is Canada's area. So these are all pretty large countries with not great populations, and most of these countries are deserted places. I mean, there are no people around in large sections of the country, no people. So, for a country like ours, see, I gave you this information to put India in perspective. For a country like ours, with just 2.4% of land area, that's less than one third of Canada's area, 99 lakh square kilometers here. Okay, this is 85 lakh, and this is 170 lakh. United States 95, China 96, Australia 76. Yeah, DRC is pretty large, 23 lakh square kilometer big. Okay, so if you look at these countries, they are pretty large in terms of areas, and populations are much lower, much smaller, of course, except for China, much smaller. But if you look at China also, there is this particular area in China, which is like, this area. There is one line in China called the Huangfang line. 94% of the country's population is on the east of this line. So just in Xinjiang and Tibet, you have just about 6% of the country's population living there. So you have large sections of the population which reside in certain parts only. So whereas India's population is more or less evenly spread, except for some of the hilly areas and all, it's more or less evenly spread. And despite that, 23% of India's land area, 24% of India's land area is covered by forest, which is a huge thing, my friends. Of course, geographers say that to maintain ecological balance, a country's land area should be covered by forest up to one third of the total area. Up to one third of total area should be covered by forest. So 33%. But it calls for a long India, which is unlikely to happen anytime soon, at least anytime soon. So, I drew a very weird China there, isn't it? But I just gave you some perspective on that. You look at countries by forest area with regard to country and world forest area. So you have two. Percentage of the country area and percentage of world forest area. Brazil, you see this, Brazil, 59%. Peru, 57% of the country's population area is covered by forest. It's 57 here, 56 DRC. So, Russia's far east is Siberia, pretty cold and pretty little grows there by way of vegetation and everything. Now coming to, Indonesia is, the world cover is just 2%, whereas the 49% of the country's area is covered by forest. See, Indonesia is an archipelago and it's on the equator. Equatorial rainforest is quite widespread here, but you need to understand something more, that it's an island country and it's densely populated. It's like you have Java, Sumatra, Banda Aceh. These islands are densely packed. Indonesia is the fourth most populous country in the world. So we mentioned a while ago some numbers here, but if you look at the population wise, China, India, United States, Indonesia at 26 crore. Okay, fifth will be Pakistan at 23 crores. Sixth is Brazil at 21 crores. So Indonesia's population is localized on islands of Java and Sumatra and Banda Aceh also, but otherwise it's quite densely packed. You look at forest cover. So Brazil's, because of the Amazonian forest, 12% of the world's forest area is in Brazil. Okay. Well, look at India, 24%, which is a significant 3% increase. 3.14% increase since 2011. Look, the forest cover is rising despite rising population. It means that somewhere our administration, state governments, local government, central government, everyone's working in tandem to do this in a better way. But globally, of course, we have only 2% of the forest area. So these are the numbers. So I wanted you to know this. So what exactly is a forest? What exactly is a forest? I spent considerable amount of time talking about forest and fall, but let me tell you what's a forest. See, a forest area can be any land, of at least 1 hectare, any land of at least 1 hectare, where the tree canopy, the top of the trees and all, tree canopy is at least or 10% of the hectare, is at least 10%, or tree canopy spread across 10% of the land. This could include bamboo tree, area, bamboo growing area. It could include orchards, fruit orchards. It could include plantation. So any kind of thing, is claimed as forest. Now forests are of different types depending on the tree cover, how many trees at the top. From the top you see the tree cover and everything. They are classified into 4 major types, especially 3 major types: very dense, moderately dense, and open forest. So you see, this is taken from the economic survey, and it quotes India's State of Forest Report 2021 and 2011, because there are 2 comparisons here. Okay. But more importantly, in the last decade, 2011 to 2021, so things have gone up. My friends. You see this here, forest cover in 2011. This is a very dense forest. So there has been a significant increase in the very dense forest cover. Now, what is very dense? Where the tree canopy density is of at least 70% above, at least 70%. Whereas any forest, at least tree canopy density is at least 10%. But we are talking about very dense. So you have the forest in Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, some parts of Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Western Ghats. They all come to very dense forests. Okay. So you look at the numbers are going up significantly now across the domain, except in moderately dense forests. Okay. But overall things are changing, my friends, which is a good thing for our country. Yeah. And all those people who depend on forests, and of course everyone depends on forests because they absorb a lot of carbon dioxide and everything else. But people directly depend on the forest for fruits, vegetables, fruits. We have timber, wood, felling of trees for fuel and everything else, industrial use. So we have our own uses depending on who we are, what our profession is, where we are. Our way of looking at the forest as being useful varies. Okay, so top 5 forests, top 5 states by percent of state geographical area. See, 84% of Mizoram's area is forested. Good English I'm speaking. Forested, 84%. That's huge. But it's a very hilly area, sparsely populated. Okay. If you look at Arunachal Pradesh, again very sparsely. In fact, it is India's most sparsely populated state. All these are heavily sparse. Very, very. When I say heavily, I'm talking heavily sparsely populated. Very sparsely populated. Almost no one. The density is very, very low here. So in all, I shared these 4 graphics so that you would have better understanding of forest. What do you mean by forest and all that? So 2011. 21% of India's land was covered by forest, and now it's about a little over 24%, which is an increase of over 3% in the last 10 years. Good for all of us. Yeah. Which country has recently been designated a major non-NATO ally by the United States? Now, what's NATO? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. You could write this. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay. Yeah. So this is a body that started in 1949. This was a pact that it's a military alliance. Started in 1949. Okay. So what does this say? It says that Okay, as of today, they have 30 members. Originally there were 12, now they have 30 members. 30 members. Now, they rule, see, North Atlantic, you can go by the simple logic of North Atlantic. So the countries on the North Atlantic coast, you have Canada, United States, you have, France, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Spain. Then you have, what we say, we go a little up, United Kingdom, all these countries are Germany, they're all part of NATO. So the idea was, at the time it was started, at the time of its start in 1949, the idea was to protect these countries from any kind of military adventure by the Soviet Union. As you know, the Soviet Union emerged as a second superpower at the end of the Second World War. The first superpower was the United States. But to take it further, my friends, you need to appreciate that the idea behind this 12 members, or initially members, coming together was that they would protect each other if there was an attack on any one of them. So they worked by the dictum of one for all for one. So if any member was attacked, all other members had to come to the rescue of this country, okay? And this country would have to go if others were attacked. One for all for one. That's how it is. So over the years, NATO has become a thorn in the side of Russia. We'll discuss this sometime later. Ukraine, Russia is one of my favorite topics, but not for this session today. Okay, so over the years, United States of America has given non-NATO major ally status to about 15 countries. Okay, to about 15 countries. Examples would be Australia. Then you have Bahrain. This is Bahrain, Iraq. This is a tiny island which connected to the Arabian Peninsula by a bridge, actually. Bahrain, okay. Then you have, what we say, what is this country? Yeah, Philippines. Okay, there are 15 countries. Why write all of them? Australia, Bahrain, Philippines. Now it will be Qatar. They are planning there. I don't think they have given it yet. So these 15 have been designated non-NATO major allies. So they are not members of the NATO. But they get certain privileges as part of being designated when they are designated non-NATO major ally. So what are the benefits of such a tag, such a label? For one, America, see, these countries get to host American military equipment that's used for reserve purposes. So these countries can open their doors to stockpiling American military reserves, not active war situation stuff, but reserves. So Qatar can play home to a lot of American bombs, or some kind of guns and everything. I mean, arms and ammunition. Number two is that these companies from these 15 countries can bid for contracts to service the American military. Like, American military could require certain repairs, certain, replacements of stocks and everything. So these countries can bid typically for repair and maintenance. These are repair and maintenance contract. So Qatari companies, Bahraini companies, Australian companies can bid for, okay, we would like to take up this business offer, regarding maintenance of combat aircraft or tanks or some other stuff. So third thing is that these countries can seek training from the Americans. So they can put in a request to the Americans to, look, guys, we need training. So America would charge money for this training. So these are the benefits of being a non-NATO major ally. Okay. So Qatar is already home to a very big American naval base here. Qatar is home to an American naval base. It's one of the biggest naval bases in the world. So there's nothing extraordinary that Qatar is being given non-NATO major ally status. Okay. Now, yeah, I think I didn't mention that NATO's Secretary General is a guy called Jens Stoltenberg. Stoltenberg. He's from Norway. He's the ex-Prime Minister of Norway. Yeah, Norway. Qatar's capital is Doha, and its king is Tamim Al Thani. Tamim Al Thani. Al Thani is a ruling dynasty's surname. So Tamim is his first name. Pretty young chap. And its currency is dinar. No, sorry, Riyal. Qatari Riyal. And one last thing, it's going to host two major events: 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup, 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup, and 2030 Asian Games. Yeah, 2030. Fair. I think we discussed this quite, detailedly. But I can tell you the leaders of these places. Mustafa Al-Kadhimi. The Prime Minister of Iraq is Mustafa Al-Kadhimi. Afghanistan does not have a permanent government, in the sense that it's still called interim government. So we'll look at the name of the Taliban leader. Taliban leader or Taliban head is Hibatullah Akhundzada. Hibatullah Akhundzada. Okay. And then look at Iran. The president here is a guy called Ibrahim El-Raisi. Jordan is a monarchy, constitutional monarchy, and the king's name is Abdullah II. These guys consider themselves to be the direct descendants of the Prophet Muhammad. Okay, the Islamic Prophet Muhammad. So that's what they say. We are the 41st direct generation of the direct descendants of the Islamic Prophet Muhammad. Okay. So the world's first hydrogen-powered flying boat, named the Jet, will be launched in Dubai, UAE. Dubai is the biggest city in the United Arab Emirates. Okay, so this is the skyline of Dubai, as you can see, and this is the Jet. What does it do? You could write just a couple of points. Built by the Jet Zero Emission. There is a coming one word, okay? Zero Emission of Switzerland. It's built by this company from Switzerland. Okay. It uses technologies that are environment friendly, and it can seat about 8 to 12 passengers and can fly over water like this. You can see at a speed of 74 kmph, which is pretty good. 74 kmph. Okay. 74 kmph is about 40 knots. Knots. Knots is typically the speed used, to describe distances traveled over water. Okay. So that's a little about this, and the capital of the UAE. Let's look at only the capitals. Just capital of UAE. It's Abu Dhabi. The capital of the United Arab Emirates is Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi. Okay. I think Greece's capital is mentioned. Athens. They're all capitals except for UAE. Everywhere else, the capital of the country is mentioned. Okay. So I don't want to discuss this further. Which international institution has recently accused Israel of apartheid over its treatment of Palestinians? A few weeks back, I had described the word apartheid. Apartheid is a word meaning apartness. Apartness. This is an Afrikaans Bhasha word. Afrikaans is a language spoken in southern Africa, especially in South Africa. So, apartheid is a policy of discrimination, typically racial discrimination. Whites discriminated against non-whites. Now, Israel is a Jewish country. See, the Jews practice the religion of Judaism. What is it? Judaism. So Muslims practice Islam, Christians practice Christianity, Jews practice Judaism. So Judaism is one of the oldest faiths in the world. It's a little over 3,000 years old. Now the thing is that Israel was created as a homeland for the Jews in 1948. But they always sought to protect their country from enemy nations around them. Like, you have Syria, you have in Lebanon there is a terrorist organization called Hezbollah, a Shia terror group. In Palestine's Gaza area, see, Palestine comprises two parts. Okay, let me tell you something here. Palestine and Israel have a territorial dispute. West Bank and Gaza comprise Palestine. These two areas make Palestine. Okay, they make Palestine. Gaza is about 365 square kilometers. West Bank is about 5,500 square kilometers. Okay. Gaza is chiefly run by a terrorist organization called Hamas, Hamas. Whereas West Bank is run by a group called PA, Palestinian Authority. Though PA has a right over Gaza as well, but no one cares about PA in Gaza. Hamas, Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hamas is Sunni, Hezbollah is Shia. The government of Syria is led by a Shia Muslim, Bashar al-Assad. The population of the country is predominantly Sunni. 74% of Syrian Muslims are Sunni Muslims. And these two sects means groups of Islam, Sunni and Shia, are the major ones. You need to appreciate one thing here, that they don't see each other with love. In fact, Iran is a Shia Muslim country and it's hated deeply by Saudi Arabia, which is Sunni. There is such great hatred between the two religious groups, two sects here, that in Pakistan there are two terrorist organizations called Sipah-e-Sahaba and Lashkar-e-Jhangvi, whose raison d'etre, which means reason for existence, is the killing of Shia Muslims. Because Orthodox Sunni Muslims believe that Shias are not Muslims. See, these are the words of not dear teacher. I don't have any political views, no religious views and all these things. They are very far from us. I wouldn't want to have any view shared with you. But the Grand Mufti of Saudi Arabia, the Grand Mufti is the highest religious leader in Saudi Arabia. he had categorically stated about 3 years back, 3 or 4 years back, that Shias are apostates. Apostate, A-P-O-S-T-A-T-E. An apostate is someone who's an infidel, someone who does not believe in organized religion, who's not, in this case, a true Muslim. So, Iran, Syria's leadership, Hamas, Hezbollah, all have said that we do not recognize the right of Israel to exist. We believe Israel should not exist. And we will destroy Israel and we'll wipe it off from the map of this world. These are their words. Okay. But Israel has been very, it's a defense superpower. It can handle all of them together. And it did in the past also. But, in West Bank and Gaza, there are lots of rocket attacks, especially from Gaza into Israel. So the Israelis take heavy-handed action. And this thing breeds a cycle of violence. Killing, violence. Violence, killing. Like this. Okay? Amnesty International, which is the answer here, is a London-based human rights organization. This organization has never voiced its criticism of Hamas, almost never, except for light-hearted things, some very light stuff. They never criticize Hamas for their attacks on Jews. Never. They never criticize terrorist organizations, and I'm not kidding. They don't talk about terrorist organizations. They don't denounce terrorist organizations in Kashmir. Just as the way they do, they denounce the Indian army. So you need to understand that this is the same organization which is full of, this is a leftist organization, okay, communist organization. They said that Israel has used the policies of apartheid, discrimination against Palestinians. Right or wrong, I wouldn't want to get into that, but I don't think you should give any weightage to organizations like Amnesty International, because they have always had rules of convenience. If it suits them, they're okay with it. Okay? So I will want you to listen, read, and not get carried away by these things. Okay? They have their own agenda. You should know this. So, right, wrong is for those guys to solve, not for anyone else. Anyway, Israel, if you want to write, Israel's capital is Jerusalem. Jerusalem. Its prime minister is a guy called Bennett Naphtali. And its currency is new shekel. New shekel. Okay. Amnesty International. 1961, founded by Peter Benenson. Okay, Peter Benenson. And London is where its head office is. London. And the last one, its Secretary General is Agnes Callamard, a hardcore leftist. Agnes Callamard of France. One last organization I can mention. I don't want to get into this talk on Greenpeace and all that. No, no. ICRC, which is the International Committee of Red Cross. International Committee of Red Cross. International Committee of Red Cross. Started in 1863 by a guy called Henry Dunant. I'm so sorry. Henry Dunant. And it's headquartered in Geneva today. Geneva, as you know, is in Switzerland, and its secretary is Peter Maurer from Switzerland. Peter Maurer from Switzerland. Okay, chaliye. Which nation was suspended by the African Union after its army announced the removal of its president, Christian Roch Kabore? Burkina Faso. This is Burkina Faso. Okay, sorry guys. Burkina Faso, this one in this color. Fair. So, I want you to write something here. Burkina Faso. I think we mentioned this in a couple of classes back, but anyway, right? Revision. Burkina Faso, it's, the capital is here. Ouagadougou. What is it? Ouagadougou. Ouagadougou. And it's currently there is a military government in place, and it's run by a guy called Paul Henry Damiba. Paul Henry Damiba. Okay. And the currency of Burkina Faso is West African franc. West African franc. You could also write one more thing. Oh, there is. Anyway, doesn't matter. What is that? Its old name, previously called Upper Volta. Upper Volta. It's the upper part of the river Volta. There is a river here called Upper Volta. Yes. Upper Volta. Okay? One more country we could discuss. Shall we discuss Somalia? Somalia's capital is Mogadishu. President is Mohammed Abdali. Shilling. Okay guys, Mohammed Abdali, and the currency is shilling. Pretty violent country. This is Somalia. Okay, I'll just give you the names of the leaders of the other countries as well. Just one more. Algeria. So I don't feel comfortable when I don't give you this information. I won't give you all the information. Chalo. Abdul Majid Tebboune. Ethiopia Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy. Ahmed Abiy Ali. Nigeria Muhammadu Buhari. Muhammadu Buhari. This is Nigeria. Very large country. Africa's most populous country. And this is Algeria. You see this orange country here? This is Africa's biggest country by area. Algeria is Africa's biggest country by Algeria is Africa's biggest by area. Its area is about 23,80,000 square kilometers. Yeah. Pretty large. The World Wetlands Day is observed every year on 2nd February to raise awareness about the vital role of wetlands for people and the planet. This day also marks the date of the adoption of the Convention on Wetlands in 1971 in the Iranian city of Ramsar. This Iranian city of Ramsar is in the north of the country on the Caspian Sea coast. On the Caspian Sea coast, I have seen photographs of Ramsar. It's a beautiful place. Yeah. So you could write one thing. Theme for 2022 World Wetlands Day. Theme for 2022 World Wetlands Day. Dash. Wetlands action. Wetlands action. Wetlands action for people. Wetlands actions or action for people and nature. Action for people and nature. People and nature. Okay. I'll clear this. See, Tunisia is mentioned here. Tunisia. Okay, the N you remove it. I'll show you where is Tunisia. This is, okay, let's clear this as well. It's a country that's in deep trouble now. There are lots of agitations happening here. This is Tunisia. This is the northernmost country in Africa. Okay, you could write this. Tunisia. The capital is Tunis. 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 And the president is Kais Said. This is the Kais Said. Okay. Yeah. ठीक है. According to the National Statistics Office, Indian economy contracted by 6.6% in 2021 as against the earlier estimate of 7.3% decline. In the budget session, we discussed this, that the Indian economy contracted by 7.3%. That's the official Government of India number. But I told you also that all numbers are subject to revision. And the latest number is 6.6%. That's the final number for 2020-21. The year the pandemic broke, that entire year went very bad, my friends. So the Indian economy produced less GDP in 2021 by 6.6% less GDP over the number that was there in 2019-20. Okay. Contract means produce less. Economic activity, becomes narrower, smaller. So let's say we produce 100 rupees. 100 rupees we produce goods and services worth 100 rupees in 2019-20 financial year. So the economy contracted by 6.6% means 6.6%. So this year we produce 6.6% less of the total amount of 2019-20. So actually the economy shrank. So we produce about 93.4% rupees worth of goods and services in 2019-10. So this is how you look at it. Okay. So this is what it means. 6.6% of the total amount of the previous year is what we produced less. So it means that the economy didn't do as bad as was thought of. 7.3% contraction and 6.6 is a difference of 0.7, which is huge money. Okay, yeah. India recently joined the global movement to eliminate 100 landmarks across the globe to raise awareness on neglected tropical diseases. Which are the following causes entities? Neglected tropical diseases, all of them. Okay, like you look at examples I can give you. Virus 1, okay, we'll take 3 examples. Dengue fever, these are related to India. Dengue fever or dengue fever. Okay, then we have leprosy. Fair, isn't it? Then we have rabies. These two are virus, and this is bacteria. So the leprosy is caused by a bacteria that nibbles away at the toes, ends of our fingers, basically digits, toes and fingers. Dengue fever, rabies. Rabies is when an infected animal, infected means a rabies infected animal would either scratch us or bite us. Okay, it's quite dangerous if it's not treated in time. It's not medicated. Proper medication isn't available within time. So, see, many people talk of COVID and all that. Yes, COVID is dangerous if people are unvaccinated, especially they are unvaccinated, and in some extreme cases, comorbidities exist. But if you look at a disease like malaria, in 2020 alone, just 2020 alone, 6.27 lakh people died from malaria. Just one disease, which is so common, my friend. It killed 6,27,000 people in 1 year. You look at, malaria, basically it's an infected mosquito that bites, okay? And it's quite infectious, basically. And this, you would see that mosquitoes don't exist beyond the tropics because of they require a lot of moisture, humidity to thrive, to flourish, to live. And you won't find this in Northern Europe and all these countries, essentially. But 22 crore people had malaria in 2020. 22 crore people in 1 year had malaria, and of which 6.27 lakh died. Unfortunate. The Geological Survey of India has approved the setting up of the country's first geopark at the Lamhita village in Jabalpur district of Madhya Pradesh on the banks of river Narmada. On the banks of river Narmada. You could write that. On the banks of river Narmada. Okay. Here, dinosaur fossils have been found. Dinosaur fossils have been found. Beat that. Dinosaur fossils. So, you could write this. What is a geopark? Geo is geological. So, right. Unified area that advances protection and use of geological heritage. Geological, the word is mentioned on the screen. Geological heritage in a sustainable way, and promotes the economic well-being of the people who live there. So as of today, crores of rupees have been given to build this entire geopark, and the idea is to preserve this place. Of course, given that dinosaur fossils have been found here, and also the fact that southern India, especially if you look at the Dharwad belt, Dharwad, Kadapa, Lamhita, this entire area, Narmada and Krishna Godavari belt, Kaveri as well, This is one of the oldest bases in the world, and it's home to a lot of, Raj Singh Chauhan. Madhya Pradesh, as you know, is the second biggest state in India. Its area is about 3.08 lakh square kilometers. So Bihar's Chief Minister is Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar. Nitish Kumar. Odisha, Naveen Patnaik. Naveen Patnaik. Gujarat, Bhupendra Patel. Bhupendra Patel. And Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath. Yogi Adityanath. Yogi Adityanath. To which company has the union government recently approved the sale of Neelachal Ispat means Steel Nigam Limited at an enterprise value of 12,100 crore. Tata Steel LP. So Neelachal was a government of India company, and it had always been making losses. The accumulated losses of NINL were 6,600 crores. Yes. 6,600 crore was crore rupees was the accumulated losses. So the government of India wanted to sell it off, and Tata Steel said, okay, we will buy it. So they bought it, and it was a transparent auction. And what we say, what's his name here? Ashish. Right. Yeah, Tata Steel Long Products is run by Ashish Anupam. Ashish Anupam. Whereas Tata Steel, see, this is Tata Steel LP. But if you look at only Tata Steel, it's run by TV Narendran. Okay, next, one more choice. Steel Authority of India Limited. Soma Mondal. Chaliya. Who has become the second Indian to win the World Games Athlete of the Year 2021? This is Parattu Ravindran Srijesh. Okay. So, and he was also, you could write this. See, it's public voting based, and he got the highest votes. And if you look at in 2020-21, the FIH, or also called it's also called the pen is moving a bit here and there. The International Hockey Federation, IHF, also called FIH, which is the French short form. It gave him the award for the best goalkeeper in the world. Best goalkeeper in the world. Best men's goalkeeper in the world, of the world. He was a member of, see, what is he holding? He was a member of the bronze medal winning Indian hockey team at the Tokyo Olympic Games. See, India won the bronze medal. Yeah, at the Summer Olympic Games, Tokyo. This was our first medal after 41 years. Do you know that? First medal after 41 years. Prior to that, we had won a medal in 1980 Moscow Olympics, a gold medal. After that, we didn't win any Olympic medal. This time, things were different. And he is a second Indian. The first Indian, if you want to write, first Indian, Rani Rampal, captain of Indian women's hockey team. Yes, see this. Indian women's hockey team, working hard, Indian women's hockey team. She was the World Athlete of the Year. See, the World Games are different from Olympic Games and all that. Okay, so if you want to write World Games 2022, World Games 2022 will be held in a place called Birmingham, which is a city in the UK. Birmingham, UK. 2025, I think it's called, will be held in Chengdu, China. Chengdu, China. Okay? World Games. Next. Padma Shri Awardee Baba Iqbal Singh passed away recently. He was a social worker. That's Baba Iqbal Singh. You know, he was the chancellor of Eternal University, which he founded. Eternal University. He established one charitable hospital, 125 or 129 Akal Academies, like schools, you could say. You know, then he established two, I think, two universities or something. Yeah, two universities, I guess. And the idea behind all this is to bring people together and make them better Indian citizens. Okay. He was the chancellor of Eternal University, and he was also the president of the Akal Society. Akal Society. He was about 84 years old, if I'm not wrong. Which company will support 5 lakh women-led small businesses across India under its hashtag She Means Business program in partnership with FICCI's Empowering the Greater 50%? Okay, we'll just focus on the companies. Meta owns Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, yeah, a lot of other companies. But let's look at this head office. Menlo Park, California. Menlo Park is a town in the state of California, and if you look at its chairperson is Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg. Okay. Next. IBM headquartered in ARMONK, New York, Armonk, New York, and Armonk is a town in the state of New York. Okay, its CEO is his Indian-born CEO named Arvind Krishna. Google's Google's parent company is called Alphabet, and both Google and Alphabet have the same CEO, Sundar Pichai. Both Google and Alphabet are headquartered in the same place. I didn't mention this. The town of Mountain View in California. Mountain View, California. Then we have, let me clear this. Oh, I think we just got the laser stuff. Amazon headquartered in Seattle, Washington State, on the west coast of America, like California. Washington is a state on the west coast of America, and its CEO is a guy called Andy Jassy. Cisco one of the world's largest internet gear company, San Jose, California. San Jose, California, and its CEO is Chuck Robbins. Chuck Robbins. Okay. See, San Francisco. The last 5 letters, Cisco. That's how the name comes. San Francisco, Cisco. The term of Mangalam Ramasubramaniam Kumar, that is M.R. Kumar, as chairperson of Life Insurance Corporation of India has recently been extended by the Government of India by 1 year. Okay. So LIC's chairperson, M.R. Kumar, Mangalam Ramasubramaniam Kumar, is going to be around for another 1 year as chairman of LIC. IRDA otherwise has no chairperson. Currently, there is no chairperson of IRDAI. PFRDI, which regulates the pension sector, especially the National Pension Scheme, NPS, it's headed by, what's his name? Supratim Bandyopadhyay. Sorry. Supratim Bandyopadhyay. Supratim Bandyopadhyay. Okay. You have the Reserve Bank of India and other things, telecom also. Telecom, TRAI is run by P.D. Waghela. P.D. Waghela. Reserve Bank of India, Shaktikanta Das. Shaktikanta Das. Who among the following became the youngest Indian to win a World Badminton Federation, that is BWF, World Badminton Federation Super 100 competition after claiming the women's singles title in the $75,000 Odisha Open Badminton Tournament? You could write this, Odisha Open 2022, held at Cuttack. Cuttack is the biggest city in Odisha, is also a twin city of Bhubaneswar. Okay. Then, Unnati is just 14 years old. Yes, just 14. So this is the women's singles title. Men's singles title, same event, men's singles title winner. I'll just give you the name of the winner. Okay. Kiran George. Kiran George. Men's singles title winner Kiran George. Women's singles title winner Unnati Huda. Just 14 years old. Who among the following has authored the book titled Last Among Equals, Power, Caste and Politics in Bihar's Villages? M.R. Sharan. Oh, I just placed after reading this question, because our team prepares these questions, I don't prepare them, our team prepares them, and I put all these photos and all that. That's the only job I do. That you see this M.R. Sharan, I read the review of this and I placed an order for this book straight away, because I would like to know about how things work at the bottom. We know policy making, we know from our experiences, which are quite limited, things work like this in this area. But in one of the most casteist, feudal, societies in India, like you have Tamil Nadu, which is quite feudal, which is quite casteist. So is Karnataka, AP, Telangana. I come from here, so I know what I'm talking about. So you also have Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, which are quite feudal. So I just wanted to know how things work. So this is M.R. Sharma, and I can give you the names of books of Shankar Acharya. You could write this. Shankar Acharya, choice 4. Can India grow? Can India grow without Bharat? Can India grow without Bharat? Bharat here, I always, would read it as Bharat because that's my name, but it's actually Bharat. We are talking the country here. So the idea behind this title is, majority of the country lives, most of the people in India live in rural areas. That's Bharat. And it's quite different, disconnected from urban areas in a lot of ways. We're not talking of the social infrastructure, telephone, and all. We're talking about looking at other things. So there is a great disconnect between the center, between the urban and rural areas in many ways. So at the same time, the growth, the development has been quite uneven. Yeah, so that's what it is about. Because a lot of policies focus on urban areas. So, can India grow without the rural areas, basically? Unlikely. In fact, it cannot happen. So Ashok Gulati, you could write this: liberalizing. I don't write S here. Liberalizing food grains market. Food grains market. Liberalizing food grains market. I love reading. I always say read, because you spend 5-10 minutes, you will end up learning something nice. Yeah, it's always a good thing to learn. What's the fun in wasting time? Yeah, not learning. What's the point of not learning? How will you become better if you don't learn? And learning comes through reading, through experiences. But sometimes experience, you don't see, one doesn't have to die to know about death. Yeah. So we need to read everything. We can't experience everything, but we can read about other people's experiences. That's what reading does. Yeah, reading does to us. It brings in vivid understanding. It brings in a vivid awareness of what's happening around us. Yeah. The central theme of the Economic Survey 21-22 is agile approach. Now, what does this mean? Agile means active. So, actually, the policy, the idea of behind the policy is to make sure it works. And how do we know it works? And how do we know it doesn't work? Only when there is feedback. And if we really are set on making it work, then we will work on the feedback in real time. So there has to be constant monitoring and all that. So this is why the agile approach. You please write this. Agile approach based B-A-S-E-D, based on feedback loop, real-time feedback loop, real-time monitoring of actual outcomes, true outcomes, flexible responses, safety net buffers, means people should not suffer any shock, safety net buffers, and so on. So you get feedback and you constantly monitor things, you get feedback and you evaluate the actual outcome. Oh, this is what has come, but this is not what we intended. So you come up with a better response, a flexible response, something that will suit the situation to make it work for you. Okay. So, and in the process, everyone has to be taken along in the path of development. That's, no one should suffer a shock of a loss of income or degradation in quality of life, standard of life. The idea is pretty good, and that is why when I was giving this, the budget talk, I mentioned that no numbers are sacred. So if the government of India says that we will allocate 75,000 crore for a particular scheme, it is entirely likely that they may change it given the situation, given the needs of the situation. If the situation requires more, they will allocate more. That's how it is. Which of the following institutions will issue a digital rupee in FY23? The Reserve Bank of India. So why don't you write this? Reserve Bank of India, digital rupee, 2 points basically. Right. First point, CBDC rupee, CBDC, CBDC, just right, CBDC, central bank digital currency, central bank digital currency, central bank digital currency. Next point, same as next point, same as legal tender, our paisa, legal tender or fiat money, but in digital form. Digital form. So if you want digital currency, you can exchange your rupees with this. 1 rupee, 1. So the exchange ratio will be 1:1. 20 rupees, 20 rupees. That's how it is. Next, this will reduce dependency. This will reduce dependency on cash and lower transaction costs among other benefits. Among other benefits. Okay. So this is the clarity we have today, because it's still in the works. So as we move, as we go further from here, we'll get, the government will come up with better, with better ways of conveying what this is about, or conveying things that will help us understand this better. SEBI is the regulatory body of the stock markets, and this is headed by Ajay Tyagi. Ajay Tyagi. Chairman of SBI is Dinesh Khara. CBIC, which is the GST and all that place, it's headed by Vivek Johari. Vivek Zohri. CBDT is headed by Jagannath Vidyadhar Mohapatra. Jagannath Vidyadhar Mohapatra. Chaliye. With a focus on growth and investment, the budget this year has pegged the fiscal deficit at -% for the financial year ending March 2023, 6.4%. So, I think there is an animation issue. Never mind, guys. We'll just keep it here. So, fiscal deficit, I told you in the budget session, is all about borrowings. Total borrowings of the government of India. Total borrowings to fund the gap between the total expenditure and the total revenue. Okay, and the revenue receipts. So what is the fiscal deficit? Look at number 17. This year, that is the coming financial year, we are going to borrow 16,61,000 crore rupees. 16,61,000 crore rupees. So this is going to be 6.4% of, I think the number, I think there is an animation issue, but what is below there, I know, so I can tell you what is there. Okay. So it is going to be 16,61,000 crore of India's total GDP. India's total GDP in the coming financial year is likely to be 252 lakh crore rupees. 252 lakh crore rupees. That's our projected value of the total output, that is economic output, that's GDP. So we are likely to produce goods and services worth 255 or 252 lakh crore rupees which the total borrowings will make 6.4%. So 16 lakh 61,000 crore of 252 lakh crore will be about 6.4%. So that's the amount of money that we are going to borrow this year. Okay, so and I told you quite, in fact, I spent half an hour on fiscal deficit in the previous session, the budget session. So those of you who have not watched it, please look it up. It's there on your, it will be available for you guys. So, which of the following states celebrated the Mandu Mahotsav from 30th December to 3rd January? Mandu is a place in Madhya Pradesh, in southwest Madhya Pradesh. This is a place where a certain festival is happening, which is like, which has heritage walks, classical dances, rock concerts, plus people could live in tents. It's like pretty much like on the lines of the Run of Kutch festival. It's good thing that we are celebrating our heritage. It's a nice thing, and it gives a lot of incentive to local artisans, lot of money, lot of incomes come to local people. That's the right thing to do, my friends. Yeah. So this Mandu was quite famous for the love story of Baz Bahadur, a local sultan, and then there was this woman named Rani Roopmati. Yeah. Someday I'll tell you the story of these guys. But we have in Haryana's chief minister is Manohar Lal Khattar. Manohar Lal Khattar. Punjab is going to elections, but as of today, Charanjit Singh Channi. Enough. Shali. The Global Center of Excellence in Affordable and Clean Energy was recently inaugurated at IIT Dharwad. We will not go further on this because these are the questions that I normally don't really spend any time on. Yeah? As per the budget 22-23, income from transfer of virtual digital assets will be taxed at a rate of 30%. So if you have invested in cryptocurrency and you sell and make a profit, 30% of the profit will be 30% of the virtual digital assets profit will be taxed. So if you make 1 lakh rupees, 30% will be taxed of that. 30% of 1 lakh you will have to pay in tax. But if you suffer a loss, you have to bear the loss. No, of course, that's how it is. Because as of today, the government of India has not recognized cryptocurrencies, and they have categorically stated that we are unlikely to recognize them anytime soon. So 30% of the gain made from the sale of a digital asset like cryptocurrency will be taxed. Which of the foreign nations recently opened the world's largest canal lock that is 500 meters long, half a kilometer long, and 700 meter wide structure in the city of Ijmuiden? Ijmuiden is in Netherlands. It's in Netherlands. It's a small port city. On the way to, it connects the North Sea with the port of Amsterdam. Okay, and North Canal City. Anyway, Netherlands' capital is Amsterdam. Prime Minister is Mark Rutte. It's a constitutional monarchy, so they got a prime minister there, and they got a monarch also, Willem Alexander, but you write this guy's name. Prime Minister Mark Rutte, and the currency is, the last three current, I'll just put it here, Euro. Currency of three countries, Euro. Okay, here also Euro. Mark Rutte. So Germany, new chancellor, but before that, capital Berlin, and the chancellor's name is Olaf Scholz. Prime Minister of Belgium, okay, the capital first, Brussels, nicknamed the cockpit of Europe, and the Prime Minister is Alexander De Croo. Okay, Switzerland has a new president. See, Switzerland has a new president on an annual basis. Like, they have a 7-member federal council. 7-member federal council. One member of the federal council takes a turn to become the president of the country on an annual basis. So in 2020, it was Simonetta Samaruga. 2021, it was Guy Parmelin. And this year, it is Ignacio Cassis. Ignacio Cassis. That's the president of Switzerland. The currency is franc, F-R-A-N-C, franc, Swiss franc, F-R-A-N-C. Finland, Prime Minister Sanna Marin. Sanna Marin. And of course, as you know, she's one of the youngest heads of state in the world. Youngest female head of state. Okay. And capital is Helsinki. Helsinki. Okay. We covered everything, yeah. Sure, nice. Oh guys, thank you for being here. Have a lot of fun. If you have access to the budget video, please watch it. Have a lot of fun. Stay curious.